If they can dream it and we can grant it and make it happen, we're going to do our best to make it happen.
Plant that one seed, and it's still growing into this immaculate tree today.
Whether it's the smile or the tears, what that wish meant to not just the child, but the family.
How has working with Indiana Wish changed your outlook on life? From South Bend to Evansville and everywhere in between, this is Get In, the show focused on the Hoosier State and the incredible stories happening here today. I'm Nate Spengel, founder of Get Indiana, and I will be your host for today's conversation. I want to take a minute to tell you about my friends at JC Hart and the opportunity that they are giving to Get In listeners. They are offering summer savings and up to 2 months off of rent at these brand new communities, East Bank in Noblesville, The Edge on the north side of Indy, and Wheelhouse in Westfield. If you're looking for an awesome place to live, you need to hit up my friends at JC Hart. Go to homeisjchart.com/Nate and check out all their cool properties. Or if you know someone that's looking for an apartment here in Central Indiana, send that link to them and JC Hart can take them on a personalized tour. You know me, I'm all about Indiana, and JC Hart is as Hoosier as it gets, and they do some amazing things in our community. And they also wanted me to let you know that they are always looking for awesome people to join their team. They just made the list of best places to work in Indiana for the 13th time. Check out their open positions at homeisjchart.com. Now let's get back into the episode. Today I'm joined by Jalen Edwards, Executive Director of Indiana Wish, the only nonprofit dedicated to granting wishes for Hoosier children with life-threatening illnesses. Now Jalen brings joy and hope to families when they need it most, right here in Indiana. Today we're going to dive into the work they've been doing in our Indiana community for the last 41 years. Then we're going to get a look inside the impact that Indiana Wish is making today and talk about how you guys could give or get involved with what they're doing. Jalen, welcome to Get In.
Thank you.
I'm really excited about this one. Shout out to our guy Paul for making the connection here. Paul was with IMS Museum. He is a great dude, an awesome community champion here in Indiana, and he made this possible. So I'm super excited to dive in. I will say I had no idea that this was a 40+ year old organization.
Yes.
And the concept, right? And we can kind of start from the top of like the concept of what granting wishes are to Hoosier children, and just kind of set the scene for everyone.
Well, yeah, we've been here 41 years. We were started August of 1984 with our first wish, sending a kid to a Cubs game with the need to grant wishes. I mean, there was a child that wanted to go, was suffering from a life-threatening illness, and the community itself came together as a whole and sent this child and created what is now Indiana Wish.
So it just starts off like, someone's neighbor or like, someone that they knew from the community says, I really want to go to a Cubs game. And everyone came together and like goes the most like authentic way. I feel like as I talk to other like leaders from mission-driven orgs, and it's like it usually has this serendipitous start where it's like, oh, everyone came together. And then they're like, wow, why don't we make this a thing?
Make it a thing.
So how did it, like, after that first Cubs game, how did the entity form?
Obviously very grassroots. It was a neighborhood group that came together, granted this wish, and they continued to see the need of it, and eventually formed what is Indiana Wish. And it has continued to grow over the last 41 years.
How many individual wishes have y'all granted for Hoosiers?
Over 3,500 wishes.
Over 3,500 wishes. Okay. We gotta maybe talk through the process, right? It's like when a kid, first off, is diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, comes home to mom and dad and says, like, I really want to go. Like, what are the stipulations? How do they get involved and meet you guys?
Once a family has gone through the process and has been, whether it's Riley or Peyton Manning or where they're coming from, and has been diagnosed with that, the social worker usually, or it might be a nurse or a physician, tells them that that your illness qualifies you for a wish possibly, and so then they're referred to us that way, and so they come to us with whatever that wish may be, and it could be Disney, it could be we did a coffee cart, it could be a bicycle.
A coffee cart?
A coffee cart. That's my favorite wish.
Wait. Oh, okay. We're gonna save that one then till the end. You gotta listen to the entire episode to hear the favorite wish. Yeah. And I think that it's important to know that Indiana Wish is an independent org.
Correct.
So there might be other organizations out there that this is strictly run by Hoosiers, supporting Hoosier children. Which I think is, and it started as a grassroots community org back in 1984. Life-threatening illness diagnosis.
Correct.
They get pointed your direction, and then it's like the world is their oyster. They can say anything, or is there like stipulations? What are the guidelines that are
obviously
presented?
There are guidelines. So there are certain things we can't do. We won't pay for college for 4 years, but whatever they can dream up. If they can dream it and we can grant it and make it happen, we're going to do our best to make it happen.
What's the one thing I've seen, like John Cena as like granted like the most wishes like he meets
Everybody.
every kid, and I'm like, that's so awesome to spend the time. And it's like this child's wish is to meet John Cena or to, and we can talk about some of the high profile Hoosiers you guys have had involved over the years, but it's like 5 to 30 minutes of this person's time is the like pinnacle bucket list item for all these kids. I think that's super cool. So take me through the progression. So 1984, over the past 40 years, did it start as like, hey, we could do 5 wishes or 1 wish, and how did that multiplier factor start happening?
Yeah, I mean, over the years it's grown, and obviously fundraising has changed, so that drives how many wishes we can grant at the end of the day. So I don't know if we granted 5 wishes the first year or if we granted 20. I don't have those numbers, unfortunately. But as we continue to evolve, I mean, one year we've done 100 wishes. So it just depends on the financial means, the cost of the wish, because we try not to cap the cost of a wish. We try to meet the child and make sure that we can do the most amazing wish possible for them. So we're budgeted for 40 this year.
Well, what's the age group, like roughly? Like, where do you think the kids that are coming to you guys, where do they fall in that?
3 to 18 is our age group that we all grant wishes for.
3 to 18. Oh man, what's a 3-year-old wish?
A 3-year-old is, Disney, or it might be a shopping spree to go get every toy they want. It just depends. I mean, and we've brought grandma and grandpa in from out of town, out of country to meet the child. Maybe they haven't met the child, so that might be a wish as well. A wish for a 3-year-old is definitely different than a wish for an 18-year-old.
Oh yeah. So 3-year-old wish, one, I think the family ones are pretty cool. Like, grandma and grandpa flying in from wherever and speeding to spend time there. And it's funny to see over the 15-year age gaps. Like, what's an 18-year-old wish?
Well, we're going to grant one on Saturday, and it's an ATV.
Like they wanted a 4-wheeler?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's sick. That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
So it can be whatever they want. I mean, we've done a John Deere tractor.
No
and he started
way.
his own business.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, so then when you think about life-threatening illness, like are there common diagnosis that these kids are coming into your program? It's like, hey, this is a kid that's battling cancer, or what does that look like?
Yeah, there are all sorts of diagnoses, whether it's heart, it could be cancer, it could be a combination of things. So there could be children with Down syndrome, but they have several other conditions that qualify them as life-threatening. So it's across the board. Oh, man. And we ourselves don't determine that. We have a medical committee that reviews each application and goes through the notes and the diagnosis, and if there's any question about what's going on with their care and figuring out whether they actually are life-threatening, that's done by our medical community.
And because by the medical staff, and is it like time bound? Like, is there sometimes where you've gotten like, hey, there's a Hoosier child that needs a wish and it needs to happen in 2 weeks, next week? Yeah.
We just had one.
Oh man.
We just sent a 3-year-old to Disney that had three weeks to live. So
no way. So
we just did that.
Okay, so I want to talk the work you're doing specifically is so impactful, but that is a lot of an emotional. I mean, it's a very emotional job. Like you're going through every day. 40 wishes this year, but thousands over the course of the organization. And I'm sure the other thing is like how many, if you had an unlimited budget, how many children in Indiana would qualify to have a wish granted?
I can't even imagine what the true need is to give the wish. I don't even have a number on that.
I know. How do you think through this opportunity, but also the challenge and the emotional piece of working in such an impactful, necessary, like an org that is doing great work, but also managing you had 3 weeks we had 2 weeks to create this wish. Oh my gosh.
Our wish coordinator has been with us 39 of the 41 years.
No way.
So she could do it in her sleep.
So what is a wish coordinator? What does that look? Is that the logistics piece of it?
She's the logistics. She's the background. She's making the wish happen. She's making the reservations. She's speaking to the parents. She's coordinating whatever that wish is, whatever makes that wish happen.
Well, because that's an interesting piece that I didn't really think about going in is not only is it the financial, right? So to go to Disney, but it's not just like, hey, here's $5,000 or whatever, go book your tickets. Like that's even more stress of like, oh, now we have to plan out a whole family vacation. And like, we're worried about this way more pressing issue. And it's making that as easy as possible for the families.
Yeah, we just need the information. We need to know when you can travel, the names and the information that we need to book tickets, and we do all the work. You don't do anything. You show up. We have a limo pick you up and drop
A limo?
you. Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you can imagine, like 5-10-year-old like gets in a limo and gets to go to the airport and do this whole thing. And have you built like relationships, let's say with Disney? It's like, does Disney have like your wish coordinator's been there for 39 years? She has like a hotline directly into.
Yeah, we have a partnership with a place called Give Kids the World, which houses all of our wish children if the wish is in Orlando at Disney or Universal or whatever that might be. So there's another organization we work with that coordinates the housing, the ticketing, all the things you could do in an Orlando area.
Is Disney one of the most requested wishes? Or like, what are the top 3 most requested wishes from Indiana Wish?
Disney by far is our number one wish, hands down.
I mean, most magical place on earth?
Place on earth.
Yeah, I have not been to Disney in a while. One day I'll get my payback there, I'm sure. One day I'll have to, go spend a ton of time there. So Disney's number one. Are there other like common themes you see?
Shopping sprees are very popular.
Like what store do people want to go to?
Apple.
Of course, yeah, that
course,
makes sense.
come on, Apple.
I mean, that is talk about an experience.
It's usually girls, so it's Apple, Lulu. Probably a purse is going to happen somewhere along the way.
Okay.
And anything in between. We had a teenager out of Plainfield who wanted nothing but Nike. So we got all sorts of tennis shoes.
Oh, that's
you
fun.
name it,
Oh, yeah. And I mean, having a nice shoe collection, that's pretty cool. So then when you go the opposite way, what are some of the most unique one-off, one-of-one wishes you guys have granted?
The tractor, the John Deere tractor. He wanted to start his own business. And so,
how old? Set the scene for the tractor.
I want to say he was around 16.
Okay.
And
in Indianapolis or rural?
No, rural community, northern side of the state. Had a push lawnmower, but wanted something bigger and better. And so we worked with Reynolds, and they helped us get this John Deere tractor with all the attachments. And they were kind enough to load it up, and we took a caravan of people up there. The child didn't know we were coming. And so we did everything from business cards to T-shirts, the logo. He had everything he needed to go in business.
That's incredible. Talk about and that's a wish that's also an investment, right? Like, that's so. I can't imagine wanting to. Like, that's just so awesome. Granted, Disney is amazing, a great family experience, Lulu, all that stuff is. But like, you get this thing because it just keeps on giving over. A long extended period of time where every time he drives that tractor, it's like, man, those people at Reynolds and Indiana Wish, those people rock. And like, now you're out there, changing your community and, mowing lawns and the business cards. And that bumps me up. Fun. That's super exciting. Are there other unique wishes along the lines of that?
The coffee cart as well. So there was again, up a little further north in a rural community, Chad, and he wanted a coffee cart in his school for the kids with disabilities to learn daily skills. They had the classes, but they didn't have any hands-on experience. And so the coffee cart was put in the school. So like you see at the mall, a kiosk with coffee machines on it and credit card, the register.
This is a coffee shop setup or coffee cart setup.
Set up in the school.
So they're like selling coffee.
They're selling coffee. They're selling Danishes. They're selling, granola bars.
How old is Chad?
I think Chad was 16 when we granted his wish, and the coffee cart is still operating today, and that's been right at 10 years almost. And unfortunately, Chad lost his, passed away at around 18, but the cart is still up and operating.
What school is it at? Do you know?
Tri-Central.
Tri-Central. The coffee cart at Tri-Central High School.
Chad's coffee cart.
Chad's coffee cart at Tri-Central High School. Like, you as a community are charged to carry on this legacy of the coffee cart. That gives opportunity. And is it like, who are the employees around the coffee cart?
It's the students from the school with learning disabilities. So it gives them the opportunity to have the hands-on training that they need. The daily experiences of, making change, running a credit card machine, inventorying the coffee cart, and ordering the supplies.
When Chad came to you guys, and you guys got connected and was like, I want this. Maybe he did think about the impact that he would have a decade later, but it was like, this is going to make an impact for my immediate community and these people that are in my life now. And 10 years later, it's still making an impact. And it's like you plant. Indiana Wish, right? You plant that one seed, and it's still growing into this immaculate tree today.
It's so impactful, and I always say we need more Chads in the world. You know,
Oh my
he was just
gosh.
an amazing young man.
What I think is super amazing about the Chad story is he could have picked anything.
Anything.
Like he could have picked like, I want to, go to Disney with just me and like this thing, because it's about them, right? But then chose to be so generous of like, hey, this is gonna help not only me but my community. I think that's really impactful. The one thing I was kind of wondering going in is, as this experience is going, what's the feedback that you're getting from these parents as they're dealing with what seems to be the most adversity a lot of them, like a lot of families will face in a lifetime, right? It's like a kid with a life-threatening illness is, top of the list, right? What feedback do you hear from parents that are going through this program?
We hear things like, it was something to look forward to. It was a time where we didn't have to worry about the condition. My last memories are with my daughter. These are my last good memories of the time we spent together. Things like that just tear at your heart. It's so important what we're doing and the impact that it makes. You may not really understand until you speak to somebody and see whether it's the smile or the tears, or hear the story of what that wish meant to not just the child, but to the family.
Yeah, and like in a season of life that can be filled with lots of trials and tribulations and adversity and just bad feelings, generally bad. It's awesome to be able to have this moment of like, hey, but a week from now, there's going to be this awesome day of exactly what you wanted or what you asked for, or this thing is going to come to life and you're going to get to drive your John Deere tractor or go to Disney. And oh man,
It's hope. It gives them something to look forward to, and it provides hope, and the stories and the memories are there with the family or with the child as a whole, as a whole.
As you think through, so you guys are currently budgeted for 40 wishes in 2025.
Correct.
And you said like it's impossible to know how many wishes you could that need to be granted there. But as you think through, like what are the ways that you guys are growing your budget and being able to grant more wishes? Like, is it strictly like you're out there knocking on doors, or are there big events, or how do you guys get the funding to make this possible?
Funding comes from obviously several different resources, but we do fundraising through events. So we have 3 large events this year. So we had the plane pole with Republic Airways. It's our largest fundraiser of the year. And then we will hold a gala called Bourbon, Bling, and Bow Ties.
Oh.
Yeah, lots of fun. And that's in September. And then we do Christmas in the Kitchen at the end of the year, which there's just nothing like it. If you were a foodie, if you loved a sample, it's held at the Hyatt downtown. They open up their huge industrial kitchen, and you can eat to your heart's desire.
In the kitchen?
In the kitchen.
Oh.
It's fun.
That is super cool. And it's at the Hyatt?
It's at the Hyatt.
Fun. Well, I know I've heard about the plane pool, because I think the plane pool also, is there like a few NPOs that this benefits?
Yeah.
And I think the Colts get involved and bring out a team to the plane pool, if I'm
There
not
are
mistaken.
players that come out.
There's
we don't have
player-
a whole team that pulls, but
There's some players, some individual players that come out. And I know that you guys have a rich history with the Colts.
Yes.
Right? So talk to me, in those 2000s, early 2010s, what Colts players were y'all working with?
We used to do a event called Celebrity Softball, and Robert Mathis was always the team leader for that, rallying up. Reggie would come out. Peyton showed up a few times, and we had a great time. They played, was kind of the Pacers versus the Colts.
Oh, in like a
In
celebrity softball game?
Held down at Victory Field, and then a lot of local celebrities, whether it was radio, TV, those types of people would show up, and they played against each other.
What are the kind of wishes that you've seen? Like you talk about Peyton and Reggie and all those guys. What are the kind of wishes that you've seen granted on like a local level like that?
Peyton, a couple for sure. Robert did several for us. It may not just have been the wish, but he was just always there in our back pocket. If we had a kid that was into football or into sports, where he would come out and meet them just as part of.
And how do you guys go about building those relationships within the community of like, okay, you just show up to the Colts because it's,
You keep knocking.
Yeah, you say, hey, come on now. Like, you know that this is, it's not about us. It's not about, it's about like, you know, helping execute this thing for a child that is battling something far harder than a football game or a, you know, celebrity, you know, movie shot, whatever the thing might be.
I can't imagine that we would knock on anybody's door locally and them tell us no at the end of the day. Nobody's going to say that. So whether it's the Pacers, the Colts, I'm sure the Fever, the Indians, any of those guys in town are going to help us grant that wish.
What's been the hardest wish to pull off? Like one that just took a lot of planning and preparation. Like maybe not just like a most expensive, but like this one was the craziest thing we ever pulled off.
We had a kid go to Wall Street and ring the bell.
Stop. Wait, how old was this kid?
Like 12?
A 12-year-old came to you and said, what do you want to do? And he's like, I want to ring the bell at Wall Street.
Wall Street.
So who do you call? Like, how do you get
Well,
in
we
touch
were
there?
lucky. We had several financial managers that were part of the organization, and they knew somebody who knew somebody.
Isn't that the classic Indiana thing? It's
Yeah.
like someone who
Someone
grew
will
up
know.
somewhere here that like has a connection down the road. And this kid gets to show up on Wall Street and ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
I mean, the environment there just had to be, it's just different, right? Like
Right.
than the usual Wall Street where, you know, I don't know who gets to ring the bell, like usually an entrepreneur or something, right?
correct.
But it's like this kid, and it's like, come on, that's so
that cool?
impactful and inspiring. Yeah, I mean, I would love to hear, are there other favorite stories of moments of wishes that have just like really resonated with you?
Yeah, we had a young girl who wanted to meet Mother Teresa as well, and unfortunately, Mother Teresa passed as we were trying to get the wish granted, and but she still went there and spent her week.
Dude, where do you go?
I don't know where she went, but she went.
She went.
went.
That's pretty cool. Okay,
But,
that's
I mean, Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
I don't know where they come up with it. Sometimes their imaginations of what they can dream up or think of is just amazing.
I don't know. Sometimes kids are just like, crazy. I don't know if there was exercises you go through because like when you have the options, like, what do you want to do? You could do anything you want, and it's like, oh, well, think big. And do you have like when you sit down and talk with them about their wish? Do they usually come in there and like have it nailed down? Like, I want to do this exact thing, or do you go through like an exercise process of it?
Most of them have it nailed down, so it's not as though we're going through a process with them. Most of them, I definitely want to go to Disney because it's something typically maybe the family can't afford to do, or has the time to do or put together. So typically it's Disney, but those ones that are one-off, I mean, we sent a girl to Paris, and that was her wish, was to go to Paris and eat croissants all over Paris.
And eat croissants. That's amazing. Here's a quick hack to downtown Indy for you. There are 2 parking garages right by Mass Ave that are doing $6 for 6 hours of parking. It's Penrose on Mass. If you go to the parking garage underneath that, it's $6 for 6 hours. And Block 20 right next to Rathskeller literally pays $6 for 6 hours of parking. It's the move right off Mass Ave. Don't sleep on it. We could talk thousands of wishes because there's so much amazing work that you're being done. I'd like to know, so how long have you been with Indiana Wish?
I have volunteered with them since 1992 and have been on staff for 10 years.
Been on staff for 10, I mean, wow. So you've been around this org for a very long time. How has working with Indiana Wish changed your outlook on life?
Tomorrow isn't promised. At the end of the day, I mean, to love your family, your life, the people who are in it, don't take it for granted. At the end of the day, you just can't take it for granted.
I couldn't agree more. I watched my mom battle cancer for several years, and she ended up passing away back in 2017. And by the time we started having the conversation around what do you want to do, and it was like she just wasn't in a state to do anything, and so it was like a lot of like, man, like at some point you get to where it's like you can't go to Disney and you can't go on family vacation and you can't do that, and it's like that's really hard. So actually, I went through this thing. I don't know. I told the story maybe a few times. Her wish was to see me get married, and we're in the doctor's office. And they bring in their social worker anytime you have her cancer had like gone to her brain and her lungs, and it was. They don't say what's gonna happen, but you kind of they bring in, they start having the conversations, and she goes, I want to see my son get married. And the lady looks at me and goes, oh my gosh, when's the wedding? And I was like, I don't have a girlfriend at the time. I was like, no, there's no wedding. And then the lady's jaw dropped. She was thinking there was like a wedding this summer that
right.
oh yeah, we can make that. No. So she's like, oh, are there other things? And she's like, well, I want to see my son graduate from college. And I was a sophomore at the time. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't get 2 years of a degree. And so I ended up transferring to a JUCO and getting my associate's degree. And unfortunately, she passed away like 3 weeks before my graduation. This time that was just impactful of like going to, whether it was a graduation or a marriage or traveling somewhere. And it's like, it was this thing. I almost relate it to when you're training for something or you're really looking forward to something and you have like a mission. And it was like, we just got to get to this date. And it was this like shining glimmer of hope. And it ties back to your original thought or your original point about like in such a dark and gloomy time, like this light of like, we're going to go get to do X, Y, or Z thing. It's special. And like it really radiates through in the time where it probably feels like unending, whether it's, whatever disease might be involved. It's like this time of darkness. And so I don't know. I just think it's super important. And it's like, it gets me fired up. And a lot of times I feel like if people haven't experienced anything in that sort of realm, it's kind of like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. But then at some point in your life, you have seen it and you're like, oh my gosh, like, this is something you have to do. Like, we have to get this done. Sorry, I just went on a really long tangent monologue there.
It's life-changing at the end of the day.
Yeah, what's the feedback that you get from maybe volunteers, or like what are ways people can volunteer? Like obviously, the funding piece is one, like show up to the events and do all of that. But it's like, you said you've been a volunteer since 92?
92.
So what does being a volunteer look like?
There's several different ways to get involved, whether it's to help out an event. We have office help that comes in and helps us at the office. There's only 4 of us
Oh, wow.
on staff. And so we have a couple people that come in on a weekly basis and help us with some of the office stuff we do. In the process of really developing our volunteer program, looking at putting, quote, teams together that would help with what we would call send-offs. So meet the family at the airport. When, that limo pulls up and we have the volunteers out there with signs, have fun on your wish,
Oh, I'm in. If you need someone to do that, I will raise some pom-poms or twirl some signs.
Yeah, that's what we want.
100%. I can bring the juice.
You can bring the juice?
Oh,
Perfect.
absolutely. That would be so fun.
So yeah, we're looking to really grow our volunteer program. It's been more come to the event, help us at the event, or sit on a committee, join our board. But there's so much more and so many more impactful ways we could get volunteers involved. And I think that wish process is part of it, being part of the send-off or the arrival back home, or it's a shopping spree and you've got all these people following you around.
I'll hold bags.
Hold bags.
Come on.
Help spend money,
Heck yeah. Like, do you think these or these? Both. Yeah,
That
the
is
answer
the
is
answer,
both.
both.
When you think about, like, one thing I love about Indiana, and you talk about how this whole thing started back in 1984, is the community coming together to grant a wish for a young Cubs fan. Yeah. But, I'm not going to yuck their wish, right? You want to go watch baseball in Chicago. Cool. I love it. That's your wish. Community comes together, sends a kid to a Cubs game, and then just continues to like build and iterate and make this thing. Like Indiana is a community that does support each other. When you think about the years that you've been involved with the organization, are there companies, are there people that come to mind that have just gone above and beyond to show out for Indiana Wish?
There are. Republic Airways. Can't say enough nice things about Republic. Amy.
Do they do flights? Are they like the ones that are, well, actually, Republic's, do they have an Orlando flight? I don't know.
I'm sure they do, but we don't so much send flights, but they run that plane pull. That is a huge fundraiser for not just us, but Riley and Peyton Manning and a kid again. They're supporting so many organizations throughout Indiana and beyond. So Republic Airways, Wallington Asset Management, quiet in the background.
I've never heard of them.
Terry over there and his team are phenomenal at giving. I could pick up the phone and call Terry and tell him I need something, and there's not a question asked about why or why. They will make it happen. Those kind of people. Volunteers that have given of time, over and over. Christine, we met her through Republic, and she gives of her time. It doesn't matter when we call her and ask her. We have lots of people that just open their hearts and give.
I love it.
So Arnie's Pizza, Kurt Cohen, they are huge supporters of us. WTTS Radio as well. Rock on the River.
Have you ever had? Oh, I was just thinking that you talk about radio. Has like being a radio DJ, like being on air for something, ever been one of the kids' wishes?
Not that I recall. No.
Oh man, I think being like a kid and then getting to be like a DJ for an
for a
hour,
day
like that would be so cool.
Not that I know of.
Okay, all right.
Not saying it didn't happen.
Well, if there's ever anyone that wants to, I don't know if they want to be on a podcast. or if they want to like make social media content for a day or like be a quote unquote content creator, I'm all in. I think that would be so fun. Like, let's say the wish, whatever it might be, you know, let's say it was content creator for a day. It's like, it ends up, not only does it make the children's day, year, maybe, you know, but it also like impacts the person on the other side.
It's going to change your life.
Time and time again. Like, I've never gone to any sort of volunteer opportunity or service thing and at the end of it been like, oh, that was a waste. No, you're always like charged up. Like, you might have given whatever you had to give, but you receive so much more.
So much more.
Gosh, it gets me. I wish I had unlimited hours. I would literally go to every org and do everything forever because it's just it's so life-changing.
It is. At the end of the day.
It's like a similar high to like working out. You know, where it's like you get that like post-service high and you're like, I can just imagine, like, let's say it's like an 8 o'clock send-off at the airport and I'm out there, you know, whatever time, and I'm just fired up. Everyone's fired up, sending off this family. I'm going to get so, like, the day is just going to be great. Like, you can't have a bad day if that's how it starts.
Nothing better.
My gosh. I love it. So as you think through ways that the community can support y'all, how can we help grant, if we're at 40 wishes today, how can we help grant 80 wishes next year? What do we need to do?
Give. I mean, at the end of the day, that's how we survive and that's how we grant wishes. And whether it's financial, whether it's time, whether it's you join a committee and help us gather donations, you know, in-kind donations, items for auction. Maybe you have a house that you don't use all the time in Florida. Give us a week of it.
Yeah, like one weekend. Come on.
I mean,
or like maybe a little lake house, like, you know, Lake Tippy, Lake Wawasee, wherever. It's like, come on, 2 days. Take 2 days, do something different, auction that off, and they could help grant a wish. Are there wishes or organizations within Indiana that you'd like to have a partnership with? Or like, if you could grant one awesome Indiana featured wish, what would it be?
That is a great question. I don't have a kid waiting asking for an Indiana wish.
Oh.
But if I did.
Like, if there was like a young, sporty Spice girl that wanted to shoot threes with Caitlin Clark, that would be sick.
Yeah.
That would be so sick. I don't know. I just think that there's a ton of cool stuff happening in Indiana, especially like with women's sports being on the rise.
Oh, you can't say enough about that.
Oh my Lord. Like the Indy Ignite, the volleyball team, like there's just, and I think every year, I would make the prediction that as time goes forward, like maybe the wishes will get closer to home as Indiana continues to evolve and develop. I think that there's a huge opportunity there. I mean, like, who wouldn't want to shoot hoops king? Maybe I'm giving out, like, someone from Indiana wishes going to hear this and be like, oh, I want to play basketball.
I would not be surprised, you know, in the next year if that's not something we get.
Yeah. So, Caitlin, I apologize if this is where they get the idea from, but come on, we got to make that happen.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, I would say, I would be surprised.
Okay, so number one way people can get involved, right? Obviously, you got to give to help make this happen. Or like, what are experiences that maybe people aren't thinking about, or ways that like, oh, your company could be a part of this? Like, there are kids that are asking, you know, obviously Disney, but are there other companies or orgs that like could donate something or give something to help your guys' cause?
Oh yeah, we've had companies donate, let's say their team for a day, where they've gone in and they've wired a house for a hot tub.
Oh, yeah. Like, so it's like sweat equity.
Yeah, sweat equity. Yeah.
You know, another one that might be interesting. How often do you get like Colts or Pacers games? Like, I want to go to a game and do that whole thing.
We don't get that often as the wish. It's usually something bigger they're requesting, but we do send families when the Pacers give us tickets. So they'll give us a block of tickets and we'll send current wish families, past wish families. It's part of, you know, something that additional on top of.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking like there's so many corporate sponsors or corporate companies out there that have a block of tickets or whatever. Right. And it's like, oh, no one's using them. Like, well, maybe this could be, because that is the one thought that I had where it's like, okay, you grant this massive wish And then it's like, okay, well, we have to, go grant more wishes. And they're kind of like, they went through the program and then they're kind of like alumni of it. How do you keep them engaged and build this community of, because I mean, there's this other piece of they're all going through something similar and time spent with each other to like, how are
It's
you?
invaluable.
Yeah.
And we do that. We do Wish family outings throughout the year, typically one in the spring and summer and one in the fall and winter. So we might do a fuel game. We did one of that recently.
Let's
about fun.
go. Fuel.
It was a good time. Pinheads,
Yeah.
where we, had a big bowling party. So, that's another way they can give back. Pinheads opens up the bowling alley.
Yeah.
And gives us, a couple hours there for our families to come in. So that's other ways businesses could get involved. Maybe it's you do have a bowling alley or you have a theater you could open up and let our families come in for the day.
Oh, yeah.
And see a movie or...
And it's like a minimal, like you're doing the same thing you do, right? It's like you're a movie theater, you're bowling, and it's like, okay, well, instead of, writing a check or doing whatever, it's like, okay, we're just going to donate the thing that we have to help make an impact in this community. Because, yeah, that is the piece where it's like, at surface level, you look at it and it's like, okay, we're granting wishes for children, but you're also bringing together this community of families that are going through a really tough time. And I'm sure there's this feeling, it's like, man, no one understands. Like, this is really hard. And like having that group of people to be around and interact with, and, whether it's like sharing ideas or practice or things that you've been doing that have been helping, oh man, that has to be so valuable.
Yeah.
So we have like the coffee cart up at Tri Central. We have the John Deere tractor. Is there one final wish memory that if every Hoosier needed to know about a specific wish that had been granted and the impact that it made, would there be one that they need to hear about?
My personal impact, there was the young girl up around Ball State that wanted to go to Paris. Her diagnosis was terminal. And so her mom brought her in to our office in her wheelchair. We had all this Paris balloons and we had the croissants and we had, not that they were from Paris, but we had all these things at the office and we got to tell her she was going to get to go. And Lauren, her heart, so big, but we sent her. It was the one thing her family did together as a whole before she passed. And then I actually attended her service and talk about life-changing. Lauren's faith was so strong, and for 18 or 19-year-old young woman to be so brave at facing what she did. Her youth pastor got up to talk about her, and he said, in typical Lauren fashion, I can't do the job right. And Lauren popped up on all the screens at this church, and she gave her last words to all of us sitting there. How not to mourn and how to be joyful for the life she led. For me personally, it's not so much that we sent her on the wish, but it was the impact of Lauren's faith that was very life-changing for me personally, and to see her just so brave and so, I don't know, it was a lot. But Lauren definitely left a mark on my heart. At the end of the day, it's just something that certainly made me know I was in the right place. This is what I was meant to do. This is where I belong. And I love that what we do makes a difference, and not just that child that we're granting, but in wish we're granting, but it's the family, it's the community that surrounds that person. It's very impactful to see the difference that it causes, the ripple effect along the way. I spoke to Lauren's mom not that long ago, and she talks about how that one trip impacted all of her children and how worldly they are themselves. The parents had never traveled. They have never been able to provide that for their children. But those children now that are young adults are traveling the world and seeing life very differently. And they do it in honor and memory of their sister.
My.
I don't know.
It's incredible.
That is my, one of my,
man.
I mean, Lauren and Chad certainly have left me a different person.
And isn't it wild how certain individuals don't need a long time to become wise beyond their years? Mm-hmm. Like, don't need 60 years to have the wisdom of a 60-year-old.
No.
Or the bravery of someone far beyond their years. Oh, my gosh. I just like it gives me chills, honestly. When you really dive into what you're doing at Indiana Wish, like on the surface level, it's a shopping spree. On the surface level, it's a vacation. But what then, as we dove in, I mean, we've been going for 45 minutes now, and it's what I've got from it is like that's the base layer, but it's like the life-changing impact that comes around this experience and the hope and the life lessons. And as you talk about Lauren's siblings, like continuing to go on that, and it's like, who knows? It's like, have they not gone in Paris and like this travel experience that bonded them all even further than, man, it's just wild. It's just so moving. And I appreciate the work that you and your team are doing, all the volunteers, all the partners and sponsors. I just think it's vitally important, and it's really cool to see Hoosiers uplifting other Hoosiers, especially when you're facing adversity. Very, very commendable. It gets me worked up. Couple of questions that I had as you think through, right? So individuals out there, the average price of a wish, like what does it cost to create this experience for a child?
The average cost of a wish is $12,000. That's all things in, sending them the flights, the spending money. If they need luggage, we take care of that. Whatever that wish needs.
Yeah, because you don't know where they're coming from in terms of like, this, has it ever been like this is a family's first vacation?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. They've never flown. They've never done any. They've never been in an airport. I mean, so walking them through step by step and explaining what's going to happen and what they're going to need to do and hand holding at times. But yeah, making sure they're prepared for that. So yeah, there's certainly been times we've bought luggage or clothing or whatever it is they've needed to make that wish everything and more.
And I know that in your office, right? Do you guys still have the wish wall?
Yeah, we have pictures. Yeah.
Of all of the, and it's like, talk about walking into an office every day and seeing like, this is the mission. This is what we're doing.
This is
like,
what we do.
And I think that I saw, we did our salute thing where it's like,
Oh, did you?
The motto, right, is like, we don't say no, we find a way.
We find a way.
It's like, you look at the wall, like when it's like things get hard and you're like, oh, I don't know if we're gonna be able to pull out like Caitlin Clark is very, but it's like, you look at the wish wall and you say, we're gonna find a way.
We're going to figure it out.
Go on. Oh, fires me up. I do have to ask too, did you ever have any wishes that were Harry Potter themed?
Not that I know.
Oh, okay. Hamilton, was it the Hamilton set? Like one time you had to, I think I looked it up and I thought it was Hogwarts. It's Hamilton.
Hamilton, yes.
So you like recreated a set for a child to, like, tell me about.
Well, actually, one of our wish kids at one point was actually traveling with Hamilton.
No way.
Yeah. And so then we had a child that wanted to be part of the Hamilton. And so those two, obviously we reached out to the mom and we were able to connect, and the child got to go to see Hamilton and see our wish alumni child perform in Hamilton. So talk about
Oh, wow.
super cool.
That's,
and then go back behind the stage and meet everybody. And
yeah, talk about, oh my goodness, that's amazing. Well, we've come to the end of the show. I appreciate you sharing all of this, and just I appreciate the impact that you're making in the lives of children and their families all across the state of Indiana. Again, it's very, very impactful work that, I mean, it just like has like a direct line right to my heart and just like it gets me fired up. It makes me reflect on, how lucky I've been and how lucky we all are to, and tomorrow's not promised, and we got to go out and, make the most of what we can today and be good stewards of our community. I think above all, like as we think back to 1984, like the thread that's pulled throughout all of this is that the Hoosier State takes care of each other, and one way we do that is through Indiana Wish, and just to continue to do that and support each other, whether it's with your time. I know the classic is the time, the talent, the treasure.
that's the classic lines, but yeah.
It is, but it's true, right? Like whether you want to, and I'm 100% serious. When there's a send off, invite me out. I will drive out to the air. Oh, absolutely. And I'll even rally some of my troops. I bet I could bring some people, and we'll do like an insane send off. Because if there's one thing I have plenty of, it's hype. So we can make that happen.
That.
Yeah, right. I appreciate it. It's impactful. And we've come to the final segment of the show, which is the lightning round. It's not even that lightning anymore. We kind of like dive into each of the topics. But I have 3 questions that I ask everyone who sits in the chair all around the state of Indiana. That just kind of talks about, community building, gets to share some love, So the first question is, what's something the world needs to know about Indiana?
The world needs to know how giving and how kind Indiana is. And the people that are here, there's just so much support and love.
Like in the dictionary.
another.
Oh, in the dictionary, I feel like it's Hoosier, and then you go down and be like synonyms would be like selfless. A lot of times, like I mean, a majority of the time.
Majority of the time.
And it's almost I always like sometimes I talk to people that aren't from here, and they're like at first when they get here, they're like, okay, what's the ulterior motive? Like, why is this person being so nice to me? Like, what do they want? And it's like, no, they just want you to succeed.
Yeah.
That's a really great answer. Question 2: what is a hidden gem in Indiana?
Probably the biggest hidden gem is our compassion for others. I think people here are generally very big-hearted. If you haven't been here, I guess you wouldn't know it.
Yeah, right. All the way up to you talk about like Robert Mathis. You know, like even the indie celebrities are still the
good
most.
people.
Yes,
We're good people.
yes. Amen. Put that on the sign. Welcome to Indiana, home of the good people. Final. Who is a Hoosier we need to keep on our radar? Someone who's doing big things.
A kid again. They're out there making an impact as well to Hoosier kids with life-threatening illnesses, offering them adventures every other month. So,
yeah, and it's kind of a good compliment. I feel like your two orgs, right? So theirs would be like we take a group of 100 kids to Indiana Beach or something like that on like a more, I would say like less maybe extravagant wish, but on a more consistent like, oh, you could go to Kings Island or wherever,
right,
you know,
whatever it is for the day.
Yeah.
It might be a Christmas party or it might be an Indians game. But
yeah, and it's like bringing that community together. You know, like you bring in 100 families that are all in a similar situation, which is again really really important. I think a kid again is doing great work, and they're involved with the plane pull as well.
They
right?
are.
They have. Oh my gosh, you talk about so one I need to come to. What was it called?
Christmas in the kitchen.
Christmas in the kitchen. All right, I'm putting that on my list because they also have a really interesting fundraiser, the songwriting boot camp thing, and I love. And it's a country music. I mean, it just spoke right to my heart. I was like, one kitchen speaks right to my stomach, so I need to go to Christmas in the kitchen, and the other one from a kid again. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's like their song. They bring songwriters from Nashville, and they get to go into like the music that they've written, and I love country music and I love food. So you guys are speaking. Amazing. Well, thank you for all the hard work. Thank you for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Keep up the great work. If people want to get plugged in with what you guys are doing at Indiana Wish, how can they find y'all?
IndianaWish.org.
Boom. Easy enough. IndianaWish.org. Whether it's time. If you out there want to be in the hype train with me for a send-off at the airport when we're sending someone to Disney or wherever they may be going, hit me up on Instagram. We'll set up a time.
Okay.
Maybe we even make it like a quarterly, like an ongoing thing. We're going to do it, once a quarter. We're going to bring a crew, and we're just going to have the greatest, spectacular send-off the world has ever seen. I love it. I'm fired up for that. I appreciate it. Thank you, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Get In. If you like what you heard, make sure you leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is made possible by our friends up at Sweetwater. Whether you're looking to start a podcast or take your content to the next level, click the link in the description to see all of my gear recommendations at sweetwater.com. If you want a behind-the-scenes look at everything we're doing across the state, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Spangle. Thank you so much for listening and being part of what makes the Hoosier State great. We'll see you next time here on Get In.